So before we start training, remember that safety and etiquette go hand in hand. You don't want to step over the sword. You don't want to leave it out laying around in the middle of the room. You don't want to walk behind anybody practicing. You always want to be aware of your spacings, front, back, your roof, the lamp right there, your cat. Always be aware of your spacing. So remember, focus is part of etiquette and safety and mindfulness. So we'll be using the wooden practice sword. It's called a Bokken or Bokto. This, although it's not a real sword, should be treated as if it was a real sword. In the right hands, in a trained person, this becomes a deadly weapon. So it is not a stick. Okay? So you don't want to scratch your back with it. You don't want to poke things with it. This should only be used for training. Okay? So in that way, you must respect this sword, because in swordsmanship, they say the sword is merciless. Okay? If you don't treat the sword correctly, it's going to come back and it's going to bite you. So the sword will treat you accordingly as you treat it. Okay? So just keep that in mind when you practice. Okay? Right? So for basic bowing to the sword, when you place your sword on the floor, it should be handle to the right, blade facing out. Okay? When you come to pick it up, it gets to kneel. Okay? So left foot back a little bit, straight down, pick up the sword with both hands, like not with one hand. That's not polite. Okay? Both hands. Stand up. Okay? Sword level. Bring it up to your eye level. Then from here, without moving the sword, just do a short bow. Then back down. Then hold. Then now you're ready for training. So when carrying the sword during training, okay, always grab the bokken or the sword underneath this line where the sword guard would be. Okay, and always carry it with the blade up. When you're walking with the sword, don't swing your arms. Okay, don't turn and hit anything with it. And don't run with the sword. So when drawing your sword, your bokken out for training, from here, center, grab from below, the tsuka from the handle from below, part way out, a bit over, and then grip. Okay? From the side. Okay? Bring it to the center, grab from below, draw a little bit out, let go. So the easiest way to determine your grip positioning when gripping the sword is your palms flat, and they're together, flat. Then from here, it's like you're cutting. Then from here, you grip. So talking more about the grip, from here, your left hand is gripping down by the end of the tsuka. Okay? Your pinky is hanging, half your pinky is hanging off the end. Your other hand is gripping the handle below this line, not above, because that's where the blade is. Okay? Down here. And then you don't want to grip too strong. You don't want to grip too too soft. You just want to grip. They say like gripping an egg, okay? Like that kind of pressure, just right. Okay? You don't want to be too stiff. You don't want to be too rigid. Okay? But you want as much of your hand surface to just wrap around a handle, okay? Like comfortably. So some further details regarding the grip. If you look at this V right here, okay, it's right above the center line of the tsuka. Okay? I don't want it to the side. And if you see how this pad slipped off, I don't want it to slip off. If someone hits my sword, it's going to come flying out. So you always want your hands, palms facing each other, grip naturally. Okay? So for your Suburi training, you have two options to train. Okay? One is your kamae, okay? Your regular stance. The other way is feet apart. Okay? This way, okay? Feet wide apart. So for the feet position, in the basic Chudan no kamae, your regular kamae, okay? If you look at my feet, they should be about the space of 1 foot width behind them. Some people say shoulder width, okay? But just know that too close is no good, too far is no good. About maybe like here. Okay? Then from here, you want the tip of your toes to be lined up with the back of your heel. Okay? If it's a little bit more back, that's fine, a tiny bit. If it's too far up, you don't want that. Okay? So from here, like more or less like lined up. If it's a little bit like that, that's fine. Your back heel is lifted up slightly, just so you can put a sheet of paper in it. Your left leg is straight. 70% power in your left leg, only 30% in your front leg. Okay? Here. In swordsmanship, you want to keep your shoulders down, chest open, back straight. Okay? You don't want to lift your shoulders. You don't want to like get tight. Okay? From here, if you look at my posture, okay, I don't want to be stretched up, relax. Okay? You want your shoulder to sit. They say your shoulder sits. This part on your armpit is a little bit closed. Okay? In your head, not back, not too forward, just straight. So where your arms position your sword should be about 1 fist length from, they say your belly button, but it should be like 1 fist length from your body. Okay? Too far out is no good because now my hands are target. Too close in, then my tip cannot protect me. So you need to find a balance between about 1 fist length out, being able to attack, yet being able to defend. So from here, I should feel safe. So for the basic Suburi stance, you want your feet apart, wide enough, so when you squat down, your knees stay above your ankle, not beyond your ankle. And you want your feet turned out, so when you squat down, your knees always bend in the direction that your feet are pointing. Okay? You want them to bend in the same direction, or you're going to mess your knees up. From the side, when I'm like this, when I come up, I want to drop my hip down straight. Straight. I don't want to stick my butt out. So make sure, drop straight down. Okay? Straight down. Okay? Straight down. Make your hip heavy. Don't come down and then bounce. Okay? Down. Heavy. So for the basic method to do the overhead cut, moving from the tip, bring your hand over your head. Okay? Then cut the head, follow through. Okay? Bring your left hand over your head. Then a good rule of thumb is this right hand never dips below your left hand. that means your tip is dropping behind your head. You don't want your tip to drop behind your head. From here, right hand stays above your left hand. Bring it up naturally. From here, using your left arm, reach out, cut. Then follow through back to your original position. So up, cut, follow through. So when practicing Subudi, you have a few options. You can do this way, just practicing the cut. Working on the movement. You can drop your hip. You can assume your kamae. Cut. Cut. From the side. From here. Up. Then cut. Follow through down. Up. Cut. Up. Cut. And dropping your hip. Cut. I let gravity do all the work for me. Down. Down. Or into your kamae. From here. Just up. Down. Up. Down. Up. Hit the target. Follow through. So typically, Subudi should be done while standing. But if you don't have a place to practice, you have low ceilings, or you don't have a place outside, I came up with a few options for you to practice your cut, just the movement. So one is, I'm sitting in seiza, but from here, I'm on my toes. Okay. And of course, my back is straight. So this is good for stretching your toes. Then from here, your knees could be, just comfortably wide. Then from here, you just come up, then cut your opponent's head down. Up, cut your opponent's head down. Okay? There's that. Then there's also from here. Instead of sitting on your haunches, you can stand up. So from here, it would be just as if you were standing with your feet apart. Make sure your back is straight. Just come up, down, up, down, up. Perfect the movement, cut, focus, down. If your body is swaying with the cut, then it's too much power. So from here, just up, down. Keep my back straight, up, down, up, down. If this hurts your knees, you can always come to here. In Iaido, we cut kneeling. One thing is make sure thigh is straight up and down, in line with your spine, with your posture. This front foot, they say the knee is at a right angle. It's actually a little bit more. Okay. Because your front knee is supporting your hip. Then from here, up and down, up, down, up, cut, down, up. So those are just a few options I came up with you for cutting inside your house or your apartment. And remember, you don't need to use power or strength. Just focus on the correct movement. With the correct movement, speed and power develop naturally. Okay? Okay, let's do Subudi. Try to match my timing and movement with your timing and movement. So we're going to do this one. The one where we drop our hip. Okay?